what if we could be in 20, 25, 30 categories at the same time? And we don't have to play this game of being number one or the best in the category because the category is not relevant anymore. The category itself has changed. So like, why do we even play that game?
I'm Jonathan Gandalf, and welcome to the Content Cocktail Hour, powered by Audience Plus. Our mission is to shake out the deepest secrets of B2B marketing professionals and stir up fresh conversation, all to help you connect your brand with the right audience at the right time. Let's raise a glass. Welcome back to the Content Cocktail Hour. Jonathan here, CEO of Audience Plus, where I'm thrilled to be joined today by two other co-founders of Bounti.ai, Ashar and Matt. We're going to have a fun conversation today talking about all things AI, everything that's happening in the go-to-market tech space with AI. Selfishly, I'm always really excited to talk to founders as well, hear a little bit about the founder and entrepreneurial journey. Always find those fascinating. So we'll dig into it all today. But before I do that, why don't we let you each introduce yourselves, tell us a little bit about your background and your role in your own words. Matt, I'm going to start with you.
That's a good choice because Ashar will drag on. So I've been in SaaS for 25 years now, always product-led. I started my career with GoToMeeting, joined New Relic at ground zero, did the 0 to 120 million there IPO, learned a ton. That was like my first opportunity to really gain experience on this with great mentors and founders. And actually Lou Cerny, who was the CEO there, is now on the board of Bounty. We were just talking to him earlier. I spent some time at Mixpanel, went over to Quip, Salesforce after the acquisition. And for me, there's just not a lot of entrepreneurial spirit walking the hallways of Salesforce anymore. And I'm a builder. So to stay close to my craft, started investing on the side. And I met Ashar about 4 years ago. And we became fast friends. And advising went to almost every other day talking. A couple more companies, and then I ended up joining full-time as co-founder in August of 23.
I was part of that. I was at ExactTarget, acquired by Salesforce. So I've been through that same entrepreneurial drain of the spirit there. So that resonates a little bit with me.
I'll let Ashar introduce himself before we go into the pivot that we made at the time.
All right. I'm an immigrant founder. I've spent the last 15 years in SaaS on the product side, most of my career, and worked at Box.com. And also, I used to actually start my career really racking, stacking gear out of a data center, which has become super sexy and relevant now with AI, but it really wasn't when I started my career. So I'm kind of like rethinking my life decisions now because I'm like, everybody wants a data center. But anyways, started doing that and then worked in SaaS companies like Box.com and MuleSoft, sort of pre-IPO, post-IPO. Left MuleSoft post-IPO, but right before the acquisition. Started my first company called Blameless, which was kind of like this modern automated incident management system. Learned a lot. We were briefly a YC company for like a day and then dropped out the day of the first day of YC because we had some really good term sheets, great investors. And that was one hell of a roller coaster journey. My first time doing it, I had no clue what the hell I was. I know a little bit more than I did before, but there's still so much newness that comes with being an entrepreneur, which is the exciting part, which is why we keep doing it. Then started Bounty Labs 4.5 years ago, that, and just been kind of messing around in the AI and go-to-market space, and just tons of learnings there. It's been super fun. I've been really fortunate to be surrounded by amazing people. That's been, I would say, the core theme of my journey is just surround yourself with amazing people that are way better than you. So
hire smart people and get out of the way. Certainly my goal with team building. Well, that's awesome. Sounds like we're all figuring it out here a bit in real time, which I can appreciate and should make for a good conversation. Matt, you previewed this a little bit. You mentioned the pivot, and I'm excited to learn myself about how related these things are, but Bounty Labs has multiple products kind of within Bounty Labs. Do you maybe just want to break that down for us, kind of the company structure and what you all are building from a top-down perspective?
So initially when Bounty started, the thesis was I was coming from the developer tooling space, right? So where you had all these observability systems and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, go-to-market does not have observability around their customers. Nobody knows what's going on. The source of truth for customers is a CRM, and CRM tells you nothing about, which is why then you have forecasting tool and all this kind of stuff that you build on top of really crappy foundation, which is my belief. So the initial product of Bounty was like, hey, how do we kind of just build this real-time understanding and view of your customers all the way from start to finish? And so that's what we initially launched with, got some early traction, early customers, but then realized that it was a really tough space to scale quickly. And so you can scale, but the capital requirement to scale in that space was extremely high because you are lowering, I need the keys to your kingdom so I can run machine learning and AI models on it, and then I can sort of do some prediction. And then we did a bit of a pivot when Matt joined.
The one thing that Ashar and I had agreed on was the sales motion, product-led, marketing-led sales motion, high transactions. We want to be a $100 million company with 10,000 customers, not a $100 million company with 100. And those are two very philosophical, different, like cultural things too. And because nobody would implement the legacy technology and then hook into Snowflake on their own, like they wouldn't do that on their own. We got stuck in a lot of red tape. So we pivoted to like a real problem space, which is originally was like the BDR function, right? A, the job sucks. B, these are less experienced kids coming out of college that are expected to do the most strategic outreach in the sales organization with no experience and now working from home. And so what the job became was just blasting out cadences through outreach and gift carding people into demos, which the laws of averages of those aren't qualified, trickle all the way down to the output of the funnel. And so it didn't make any sense. The job became overhead pretty quick. And candidly, if they don't get promoted in a year, then they're out. There's a life expectancy of a BDR of 1 year. Yeah. That's a real thing. And it's because they hate their jobs, because they're doing all the grunt work and they're not getting any success. So originally the thought was, why don't we take all the grunt work off the table and do it better than they ever could, but at scale? And if they were to attempt to do what we do in seconds, the first product, it'd take them all day to probably get 5 emails out. So they're not going to meet their quota, so they don't do it, and the whole thing falls apart. So that was really interesting to me. And then you take the bottom shitty 30% of their day off their plate, you shift them up, and it's like one person's trash is another person's treasure. The salespeople can offload the bottom shitty part of their day to the BRs, and you're getting shifting everybody closer to the customer. And if you understand an annual business plan, there's a reason why companies plan for productivity decline every year when it comes to sales. So they become more expensive because nobody's solving that problem. And there's so many other problems that are wrapped into that, which is you have people missing quota at the highest rate ever, right? 52% of people are making sales quota now. You lose good people. Now you got to hire more people. There's all these soft costs that are wrapped into this problem. So I was really excited about that. That's where we pivoted first, was basically this, all the research you would ever need to go out after a company, but not just the company, like at a buyer persona level. So what does this person at a VP level care about as it relates to your solution and how it ties to the business objectives of the company? We're going to tell you how to talk to that person. And then you have a judgment call on whether it's good enough, right? So now you're getting quality, catered, personalized outreach at scale instead of generic gift carding. That's why that was exciting to me at first. And then it goes on from there, right? We've launched our second product, it's called Lead Talk. It's been an awesome to see. At first, it was a lead acquisition strategy of going narrow around something that people want. And Lead Talk is give us your ICP and we'll create a list of other companies you should be selling to. People search for that. People don't search for everything that Bounty's doing today because it's different. So we figured that out quickly. And so we started using Lead Talk as a lead acquisition strategy. Now we figured out ways to monetize it. Right. And so we have other products coming, which is Narrative.io, and we can talk more about that. But I don't want to bog out the whole thing, but it has become this very different company very fast, but it's all around operational efficiency and inbound and transacting quickly, but delighting customers with product experience before they hit a sales rep.
I like that last piece a lot. And it's something I talk about a lot in our own team and how we're building with AI. And I think how a lot of people are adopting AI. It feels like so many people sit at their desk and like, how can AI like make me better, make our business better? And we're all like looking internally at this application of AI. And what you just said there at the end is like, how can we use AI to actually delight our customers? I think that's like sometimes a lost piece of all things AI is like, we're not thinking about how our customers, how our prospects are actually using AI or impacted by it. Because we're also myopically focused on like our own operational efficiencies, which sure, there's a lot there to do and attack, but we are forgetting sometimes about the most important people, and that's our customers.
100%. And there's too much talking about preparing to do the call and not doing the call. Yeah. That's the world in which we're living in and no more, right? So it's just a massive opportunity for us to tackle, and I'm excited about it.
I was going to say, like, the customer delight thing, right? Like I would say, if you were to ask me what's the one thing that keeps me up at night, it's just cracking this delight. And to the point where I was like, I'm gonna go sign up for a neuroscience course, like an online neuroscience course, and I need to understand at the neuromodulator and the neurotransmitter level what the hell is going on, because that's the only way that then you can create and craft experiences that people are going to care about. Right? That's what I obsess over these days.
Yeah.
Oh, how do you use AI, bring in an understanding of what drives human behavior, like really at the deepest possible level? That's how scientific you have to get to really be able to understand, like, how do you delight the customer. That's just like one thing I wanted to add.
Yeah, it's the combination of like the most like powerful AI technology and the most like basic human psychology, right? There's a huge gap there, and where you can find the Venn diagram between those two is obviously incredibly valuable.
I would actually say, if I were to describe Bounty Labs in our words, it would just be that. Like, our vision is to figure out that Venn diagram. What Matt described is like our strategy on how we actually get there.
What's behind the why of why you want to be 10,000 customers at 100 million versus 1,000 customers at 100 million? Is that just based on your experience, or is that based on what you're seeing in the market and how people are buying technology and solutions?
There's muscle memory behind it for sure, right? There's trauma, if you want to call it. But the difference between being an enterprise sales-led company and the difference between being a product and marketing-led company, inbound versus like putting armies of people in place to go win big deals, right? It's very different. And for us, we want to make our own decisions on how we want to build our company. And we want to make our own product roadmap. We will listen to our customers, but we will make decisions based on the broad audience of opportunity for us. And sometimes when you get caught in the enterprise, you end up, your product roadmap becomes like theirs, right? The things that they want. And you have 100 customers doing 100 million. Think about how expensive those customers are when you lose them. And then culturally, are just different people you hire, right? You're not hiring folks with Rolodexes, like you're hiring younger, less experienced, hungry folks that just want to grow, want to learn. And so culturally, it's different. And then the type of roles and the amount of resource you need to put into it to win these deals and retain these deals is entirely different. So that's, I think, one of the foundational things of why we decided, like, out of one of our values, who are the type of people we want to work with and what is the type of work we want to do from a go-to-market standpoint. That had a lot to do with that.
My view is that, I remember when I first started my first company, Blameless, I got this really, really sage advice from another founder who was like, there's only one thing that kills companies, it's running out of money, right? But if you double click into that, it really comes down to agility. And so the thing that I have scars from is not having agility built into our business. And then you get to kind of see what that traction. Enterprise sales motion is really, really valuable in certain industries because your buyers expect to buy certain ways, right? Like ERP systems, they never change. Their customers don't want to change. They don't want magical AI. They want to hear about it. They want you to talk about AI, but they don't want AI, right? Like, they're just like, I have like a factory that I got to run. It's predictable. There's a software that I use, right? But the rest of the world, I think for me, that makes me nervous, or what drove this thinking was that, man, like, buyers' behaviors are constantly changing. The minute you put down a sales motion on paper, it's already broken. Like, it's no longer relevant, right? It's no longer relevant because your buyer has moved on. And so for me, what's really important is that this whole like notion of 10,000 customers, 100 million speaks to that agility that you got to build into your business to be able to achieve that. You can do the enterprise sales motion. You can be successful, but what makes me nervous is, like I said, once you lock it down, it's really hard to become agile. Whereas in our world, it's all about moving fast, meeting your buyers' whims change, you evolve as a business. So not only do we have that ability in our system, it's like that's the kind of stuff that you get through our products. It's like you're getting that agility.
Speed wins, right?
Especially with AI, dude. Because guess what? Everybody's looking at AI. Everybody's becoming agile. So whatever you thought your mode was, like even 3 months ago, is no longer your mode. Sorry, it doesn't exist anymore. And you just got to accept that reality, accept that chaos. And just figure out, okay, how do I swim through this? How do I get through this? That's it. That's the only option. That's it.
And I want to be clear, like when I talk about enterprise, I'm talking about size of company. I'm talking about like the Comcasts of the world, right? Comcast became a quick, like very big customer of ours. They're spending over $1 million. And we were this velocity flywheel of transactions, right? We had thousands of customers, but then we had Comcast. And it was like a wrench, right, that was thrown in the process. And that one customer was 40% of our support tickets.
Oof.
Walked away, we fired them.
Wow.
Lou said, get rid of them. And it was the best thing we could have done for our business because we deviated from what we thought we wanted to be. That's the trauma that I'm talking about when I say trauma. It's not size of deal. It's sales complexity and bullshit that you have to deal with.
The resources that end up attached to that account, right? Like, it's just crazy.
It's really the buying process. Like, you can find pockets of enterprises that buy more progressively. They could be acquired in that they're like, I'm going to buy online. But the qualification point is, are you someone that will actually buy online, or do we have to knock on your door and then cater to every need you have? Those are the different things. So I hope that clarifies a little bit what I'm trying to say.
As opposed to maybe starting one way and like ending up there, like how intentional you all are about going into building the structure and the culture of the business. Really cool stuff there. I'm going to be selfish here and ask at least one marketing question. And I know neither of you are like marketing by title or marketing by background, but I am curious because I think there's two things here that make marketing for Bounty Labs really challenging. One is this multiple product line and different brands for those different products, as well as just how noisy the AI go-to-market space is. So how is Bounty, like going up against those two headwinds, how is Bounty Labs kind of thinking about your own marketing strategy moving forward?
It actually was intentional, and it's only helped by having separate brands. And if you go back to what I was saying earlier, there's so much inside Bounty as it was today. Like, it is so, I would say, so valuable, but we're also making it cheap. It was confusing as to like, could this be this, what we're trying to, and people weren't searching for what Bounty was in totality, but they were searching for slivers of it. And so we decided, you know what, screw it. Like, our lead acquisition strategy is to put another brand out there that you can buy if you want to on its own, but also creates conversations for us. And then it started to evolve into, holy shit, I'll let Ashar talk about the Gen Nodes backbone of our business. It allows us to spin up these companies like on demand. We've got another one coming called Narrative.io. And basically what that is like a microsite that is account-based marketing for marketers that will nurture for you and sequence for you. But it's a no-code website for each customer, each company you want to go after. But it's also can extend out into the individual that you want to go out to. So this backbone of all the data that we collect and like we've built internally now has the outputs of like, we could have 100 of these different brands in a year if we wanted to. And it took us, I don't know, a month and a half, 2 months to get lead talk out the door. And then Narrative's taken us less time. We're cranking these things out and they're all super valuable, but the real value is what we've built.
I had like a panic attack right before the holidays because I was like, dude, every 6 hours, there's a new competitor popping up. Probably 30 companies in YC alone that are like, oh, we're AI, SDR, BDR, we're going to automate this process. I was like, dude, what are we going to do in that world? Like, the days of being the category leader or the requirements, the things you would need to be the category are just now insurmountable to become like, because the market gets flooded with everybody building with AI. So we're like, okay, let's look internally and look at where our strength is. So we built this proprietary engine, which basically combines human agent workflow and AI agent workflow, and you can stitch these together and then rapidly turn them into their own products or own companies. We're like, oh, wait a minute, maybe this is the new model in which you go and build. I mean, it's not SaaS. We won't call it SaaS. Or SaaS is like kind of just becomes a subscription or whatever it is. But it's like, dude, what if we could be in 20 categories at the same time, 25, 30 categories at the same time? And we don't have to play this game of being number one or the best in the category because the category is not relevant anymore. The category itself has changed. So like, why do we even play that game? And I think that has, like Matt said, we were super intentional about it. And that's working out really, really well for us. I think it's creating the results that we were looking for, which is good. But again, it's like it's multiple components coming together. So that's the only way that I think you can go and potentially dominate. And maybe it's not that we are the enterprise, like the go-to-market, like that's not even the thing that we become. It's like, if you look back and look at the companies that are doing similar things at later stages than we are, you've got the private equity folks, right? What's the private equity model? Become a fund, who acquire a bunch of companies. It's all under the kind of fund model, but everything is its own individual thing, and then you spin these up and sell them. That's kind of like one future. The other is like you've got these massive like consulting firms, that are very, very human, workflow heavy, the Bains of the world, and that claim to have all this knowledge and expertise. Well, guess what? What has done is commoditized all of that knowledge and expertise. There's so much opportunity that has opened up because of this strategy. So we're going to have to figure out how to focus. And of course, then you've got your incumbent go-to-markets like ServiceNow and Salesforce and ZoomInfo and Hall and like all of these folks that are, I think, become easier pickings. We can compete more easily without requiring the same level of resources that these companies have.
Yeah, I mean, these companies have had to, now being public companies, shift up and focus on their larger customers. And they've left the long tail of small customers open for all of us. And so we're just going to eat up the long tail of multiple companies and build a bigger business than all of them combined. And so that's what we're thinking about. And the thing that's exciting for me, but also like we operate with healthy paranoia, is there's so much we can do so fast that we're not going to do it all. We know that because we can also break our company and lose the opportunity by trying to move too quickly. But at the pace in which we can crank out new brands, we can't absorb them on go-to-market, right? So it's this weird, like, well, it's a product roadmap. You've got these new brands sitting on the sidelines, and then we're going to get to them, and then we're going to get to them, and then we're going to get to them. But we'll staff up and go to market to get to them faster and do them well. But imagine a world in which like we sell this Gen Nodes thing, right? This is the product. And then once you're inside, it's like going into an arcade, right? You get your little card, right? And you swipe your card, like anything you want to do, all the other use cases are on demand and coin operated, right? I want to create a microsite right now for this person. Boom. Okay. I don't have to commit to a year for that one product. There's multiple actions you can take inside of it that is like, okay, that's going to be 2 tokens. Okay, cool. What if we gamify it and say, oh, you hit this thing, we're going to give you 2 tokens back. There's so many cool ways to use the output of what Ashar and team have created as the foundation of our technology.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, my wheel spinning. So then you can pass your data between those different arcade games, right? And that's what becomes the gold for each customer or each user even. That's really cool. You have my own wheel spinning about our own business here. I think like what's really neat about how you all have kind of started this is you're not saying this is what we want to build. You're listening to the market. You're saying there's this long tail, or people are actually searching for this, like very, very tactical. It feels like such a big, and this is me being a marketer, it feels like such a big like strategic decision to decide like on all these different brands. And you're just saying, no, we're going to do what the market tells us. And what we can do better is faster and by interconnecting everything. I think like light bulb moment for me. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't know if you know, like you've seen the brand Lead Talk, but this is the psychological aspect of what I was trying to accomplish. And if you look at Lead Talk, it looks like TikTok, right? And the branding, the colors, everything. And the reason why we wanted to do that is because where do our buyers spend their time when they're not working? We want them to feel like they're in a familiar place, right? Smart. And Narrative.io could look like TechCrunch, right? It's just what we're doing is riding the wave of the billions of dollars that these companies have spent to acquire people's attention that we want to buy, we want to sell to. And we just make it feel familiar to them. So it's just like little tricks like that we go a little Mustang on, but so far they've worked. You never know.
There's like a lack of ego there too that I appreciate. Like, I don't know, like I appreciate how you two are just both thinking about like, no, we're just going to run to the opportunity. Like we don't, maybe I'm putting words in your mouth here, but you're like, we don't need to be like creating this new vision or this new idea. We're just going to take advantage of the opportunities that have been presented by us from other people who can't maybe take advantage of it because they're too big to move too fast or be agile enough. So
we don't care to be standing on the NASDAQ stage. Like we don't. Like
you don't want the flag in Times Square?
No thanks. Like we talk about margaritas on the beach in Malibu. Like we'd rather do that.
Hell yeah.
We'd rather nobody know who we are. But yeah, it is. You've been doing it long enough. You've had your opportunity for ego. We have very low ego. And we just want to optimize and change this industry, right? Like so, but behind the scenes where people don't even know we're there.
I love it. Okay, well, I'm going to ask one question before I maybe get to wrapping the conversation here. But I'm always curious talking to founders, especially right now, especially in the space you're going into. You both have pretty successful backgrounds. Why did you decide now's the time that you want to jump in and take on the founder journey and the founder challenge that you're taking on now?
Because I can't help it. I've taken time off and I didn't know what to do with myself. I love building. I'm doing with one of my very best friends. And I love what we're building against and towards. And I don't know, it's just a big part of my day. And my motivation is to get up and go to work with people I love, but it's got to be people I love, right? And we're very protective of our culture. So for me, it's that, right? It gives me purpose, gives me drive. And otherwise, I just get fat and lazy on the couch or just golf too much. I don't even know what I would do if wasn't doing this. So I don't think I'll ever stop working, to be honest with you.
I love that.
Yeah, I would say very similar to Matt. I won't repeat what he said because he articulated it so well. It is really about the people. The number one value in the company is we're good humans. We treat each other with kindness, love, and gratitude and respect, right? That's like value number one. Basically the opposite of don't be an asshole, but just more descriptive. So that's one big part of it. I would say for me, it's like, man, it's like AI has opened up such an avenue of curiosity. It's like this unsatiable curiosity that like I don't have any control over. And I just got to, this is what led me down this path of like really going down this path of neuroscience to understand how the brain functions, because then you can use that to model how people's behaviors are going to be, or even think about the next generation of AI models and stuff like that. I mean, those are the kinds of things that are just, there's so much to be figured out and discovered in the world. So that's what I'm really excited about. I'm genuinely excited about. I think there's this new class of unsolved problems that are emerging. And I think both Matt and I just have this itch that's got to be scratched by solving this problem, right? So the timing is great. Timing is now a lot of chaos happening in the world. And whenever there's chaos, that always creates opportunities. It happened in 2008, a very famous story of Uber sort of taking off in 2000, like right after 2008. So I think the world is evolving and hitting a similar point of uncertainty and chaos, which people can like just feel very overwhelmed by, or you can kind of look at it as an opportunity. And I see it as an opportunity.
Love the perspective from each of you. All right. I was so excited to jump into this conversation. I completely skipped our icebreaker at the start of the conversation. So you each are going to get the double whammy icebreaker and ender here. I'm going to ask each of you, what are you enjoying drinking nowadays? And what's an unpopular opinion that you have as it pertains to B2B go-to-market? I'll let you two choose who goes first.
I'll go. I'm a red wine guy. I'm very much into it. However, I had a twisted tea recently. That was pretty nice. But for the most part, like you'll catch me with Modelo Especial or a red wine, depending on the hour of the day. And I just got back from Cabo, so I will stay off Modelo for a while.
That's fair.
What a sophisticated answer.
Thank you. It's been well thought out for 40 years. So the second one, I'll just be provocative. I haven't said it yet, promised I wouldn't, but I'm going to. I think the CRO is dead. I think that role is dead. I think that if you're not thinking like an operator, right? CROs today have a 14-month lifespan in the company, because what they basically are doing is taking the top salesperson that sells the biggest deals and making them all CROs, become the most popular title, but overburdened with the most responsibility they're not prepared to take on. I've been a CRO, but I'm much more of a COO, much more of closer to a CFO than I am to a CRO. I'll get on the plane to go have a steak dinner if I need to, but damn, do I not want to do that, right? Yeah. And if you don't understand all the things I talked about as it relates to BDRs and the efficiency there that leads to morale and missing quota and people leaving and ramping people into the new, back into the business, there's so much in there. And that's why I talk about planning for the productivity decline every year is bullshit. They only do that because they're not fixing these problems. And more people, more problems is basically what it is. And when you talk to a CRO these days, they don't get that. When you talk to a COO or a CFO, they're like, dude, this is a drop in the bucket. $10,000 a month? That's one BDR all in. And guess what? Bounty doesn't wake up hungover on Mondays, right? We're at work every day. We love our jobs and we'll be there for more than a year. That is something that resonates with an operator, and CROs don't get it, and they're giving too much span of control. So there you go. CROs are dead.
That is a good hot take here. Sometimes we get some watered down hot takes, but in my space, there's a lot of debate right now about, can a CMO be a CRO, or does the CMO report to the CRO, or vice versa? And you're just killing the position altogether. I like it. I like it.
You want a COO with a VP of sales is what you want.
I like it.
So what am I enjoying drinking? It's going to be I don't know. Am I going to be weird if I say this? Because I don't know. Yeah, I guess it's the Chobani yogurt drink. So milk. I don't know. Does that make you weird?
Those are good.
It satisfied my dessert craving and drink craving. So Giovanni.
I've seen you gaining a little bit of weight. Is that what that is? How many does he have in a day?
Don't worry about it, man. Don't ask it. So, unpopular opinion, go to market, man. I'll say a couple. So one is, I think, so AI agents, and especially the way that people are like abusing it. So AI enshittification, right, is going to kill email as a channel. And I'll go as far as to say it's actually going to kill web as a channel. Because if everybody is just like shit, and it's all AI generated, and it's like all your landing pages are AI generated, like fully AI generated, with no human in the loop, then you're going to lose people's trust. The brain loves to see different patterns because that's what it wants to go buy and like engage with. And then if you just flood that with garbage, then you're going to start rapidly killing off channels like email, web, and a bunch of others. So that's my unpopular opinion. I'm sure there's diehard fans out there of that kind of technology. So
You're talking to somebody who was raised on email. So I'm holding back a little bit. You know, I was at ExactTarget in the 2010 era when social was going to kill email. And so here we go again with email dying. But I do think you're on something. I think cold email, outbound email, a lot of the work SDRs is doing has been bastardized. And it's maybe because CROs have just been running the numbers on the kind of coin operated game there. So could be onto something. I like the spiciness of each of those kind of hot takes that you each offered. Those are two big ones that I can appreciate.
At Grip, email was dead too. It's never going to die. It's unfortunate. Right. But it's
I'm gonna die on the hill, guys. Sorry, this is the hill that I choose to die on. Is email is officially almost dead.
Officially almost dead.
Eventually,
officially almost dead.
It's one of those things where if you just squat on it long enough, it will eventually be right. Yeah. You can say you had it first. So
right. When we do this again in our 60s or 70s, I'm going to be the guy that's going to be here and like
sitting on the same result.
I told you so.
Mine will actually be true. Yours will still be the same result. So well done.
All right. If people want to learn more about Bounti Labs, Bounti.ai, Lead Talk, any of the brands you're creating, or learn more from either of you, what's the best way to do that? Not everybody at once, please.
So you can go to Bounti.ai, LeadTalk.ai, and a couple more coming. Obviously, we've got our LinkedIn presence. You can reach out to Matt or myself or Ashar at Bounti.ai. Matt's Cat Movie at Bounti. I'm just kidding. It's Matt at Bounti.ai. So whoever's listening, feel free, man. We're always down to chat.
Absolutely.
Love it. Well, thank you both for joining today. Fun conversation, hit on a lot of topics. Until we have you next time, talking about a different brand or a different product that you're launching. Thanks so much for joining today. To all of our watchers, to all of our listeners, thanks for joining as well. Until next time, cheers. Thank you for joining the Content Cocktail Hour powered by Audience Plus. If you want to see more episodes or more resources curated for your role, join us at audienceplus.com.